Thank you. Good morning, folks. How's everybody doing so far? So far, so good. My name is Jake. We're going to move pretty fast over the next hour or so, and what you're going to walk away with, I'm hoping, is going to change your life as much as it has changed mine. Quick question to start off with. How many of you all remember something that you were doing when you were 19 years old? 19 years old. Go put your hands up. Just look around. That's a lot. A couple of y'all are looking at me like, dude, I'm 19 years old now. I'm like, great. All right, work with me. But all right, you get the idea. Okay, great. When I was 19 years old, I was in college. I took the college route, right? I was studying psychology, which I've still made a career out of, which is very cool. But I'm 19 years old, and I'm in college, and it's a rural college. It is 9 miles away from a town called Farmville. That gives you an idea how rural the college was where I was in, right? So not a lot to do out there. I wasn't big into sports, played a little bit of soccer, which was great, but not that big into sports, was not into the fraternity scene that much. I'm like, well, what the hell is there to do at that small kind of a college on the weekends when you're not studying or partying or stuff like that? I'm like, well, for a while, there was nothing. And then I found something, kind of by accident, that I didn't expect. I found the fire department. I joined the volunteer fire department at my college. But something happened that changed my life forever, and it wasn't just the fires. Yeah, the fires were neat. But I went on my first fire, which was a dumpster fire. How many of you all have been in a meeting or an activity or something, you walked out of it and you said, man, that was a dumpster fire? Really? You got that? I've been on an actual dumpster fire, all right? And I've been on a few meetings that were almost that bad, so you're not wrong, right? There's probably a lot of truth in that, right? So I went on the dumpster fire, and I'm basically qualified at that point to like carry air tanks and hose, really not doing much, but I'm watching all the other 15 or so people pull out the attack lines, put the wet stuff on the red stuff, as the firefighters say. I'm watching the pump operator kind of dial up the pressure, dial down the pressure, even the traffic control people on either side. And they're working with each other almost as if they're communicating. But back then, I mean, we got radios, but they're not talking with each other. It's like they can read each other's minds. It was orchestrated, it was smooth, it worked well, and I'm like, how do you all do this? It was better than any sports team I've ever seen play before. And I'm like, I want to be part of this. So we go home after the fire, and I'm like, all right, we clean up the hose, we pack new hose in the hose beds of the trucks, we clean off our gear a little bit, we recharge the air tanks and all that stuff, and I'm like, well, I guess we're done. And a guy named Tim, actually, different Tim, right, comes up to me and says, oh, you're new here. Yeah, we got something else that we do. And I'm like, what is this, hazing or something? No, it wasn't hazing, it was actually the opposite, right? And he buttonholed me and he said, come on in. And we sat down. And there was about 12 of us. Some people had to go home, right? But about nine or 10 or 12 of us sat down. And the chief stood up at an old green slate chalkboard, right? The old green slate chalkboard. And he wrote up 5 questions. And I'll tell you what the questions are later. And then the chief of the department did something that many leaders sometimes find hard to do. He shut up. And he stopped talking. And he let everybody else talk. And the pump operator spoke up and said, well, here's kind of what I was thinking when I was dialing up the pressure, dialing down the pressure. I had no idea. And here's what the attack line crew spoke up and said, well, here's what we were thinking right as we saw the dumpster top open and this kind of burn and everything. And I thought, I didn't know that. I didn't see them do that. Even the traffic control people spoke up. The supply hose person, supply truck person said, here's what I was worried about in the water supply. I'm like, I had no idea any of this was going on. All I saw was what I saw was the fire getting put out. What I'm realizing is so much of the decision making, right, was intuitive or subconscious and just almost automatic, but it came out during that discussion. And for that 30 minutes, 40 minutes or so, I'm like, that's better than any training I went through. The training was actually really good, but this was even better, right? And I went, this is an amazing discussion. We finished up the discussion, and I turned to Tim afterwards, and I said, man, that was amazing. I mean, do you all do that, like for every fire? And he said, well, maybe not for every fire, but we try to, but at least once or twice a week, we definitely do that. And I said, man, what was that? And he said, my friend, you have just been through your first after-action review.